Okay, good afternoon officially. Those dedicated and committed attendees who are here, and to those of you who are watching the recording at home, it's a bit disappointing that you weren't here live. I've made notes about who is here on time and who's not here, and we will move forward accordingly. Welcome to the weekly market wrap. My name is Scott. I'll be your host. As always, education, illustrative purposes only. We don't give recommendations to buy or sell securities or financial products. Any decisions made should be based at your own risk, on your own risk, upon your own risk. We're not brokers and we're not advisors, yada, yada. Okay, what are we going to do today? Let's analyze today's market. Let's analyze today's market relative to this week's progress. Let's look at this week's progress relative to our market posture. Let's take all of that context and apply it to mindset for trades that we may or may not carry over the weekend. Let's take a look at the economic calendar so we know what's coming up next week and what we need to be aware of. Let's walk through the opportunity list to see how everything in there is holding up. Do we still have potential buys on deck, or do we see a lot of things overextended and we think maybe waiting for a pullback could be a prudent decision? We've got a lot to do, a lot to talk about. And lastly, certainly not leastly, the trading plan progress, working on section 3, which is all about trading rules, building rules into a trading system and having multiple systems eventually. That is how we look to try to implement and keep a perspective of treating our trading like a business. Because if you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. Okay. Let's get into it. Still, we don't have anyone here. I don't know what's going on today. Friday afternoons. What's the deal? Here's the new trade. Actually really gave a viable signal yesterday. So we talked about it yesterday, but not until after market. Today still looks good. You can see our stochastics is just barely making the turn. I see a good amount of upside potential. If we are getting in around 148 and change, I'm getting 2-1 at 160 and 3-1 at 166. And that's exactly the way that I have defined the trade. Let me bring this over. 160 potential target. That's not much of a move. We could be there by Wednesday of next week. And then give me a couple more days and get me up here to 166. How close is that to what we just saw? Well, let's go from here to here. And then let's duplicate that. And let's just kind of stick it in there. You can see it's around starting points around the lows. 160 final move, 167.5. Again, depending on where you put this, I was looking at 166 and change for my target. Okay. Questions? Comments? Or concerns about this trade alert? Now, you'll notice that the implied volatility is not ideal. Whoops, I don't want to do that. Let me get my drawing tools back. Looking down here, it's not low. Low is 40% and lower. Like that's where I would assign low. But it's also not high. I mean, it's certainly not high like this, but even if you were to discount that, if I were to discount that, which I would because I was kind of and I draw this line across, this is really where I see high. And low is down at the very bottom. So where are we now? We're about right in the middle. So if you look at how I assessed the implied volatility, I said mid. It's mid. It's right in the middle. It's not high, but it's definitely not down here at the low. But my assessment was still worth buying. It wasn't disqualifying in a way that we feel like the options are not priced well enough for us to take this. Where'd you go? Where did you go? Let's zoom in here for a minute. To take this potential move and think, yeah, we've got a nice potential 2-to-1 or slightly under at our first target, which is easier to get to. That's not much of a move for us. And then 3-to-1 if we make the full target. So what would I do? Well, ideally, I'd want 3 contracts so that I can sell one. I guess 2 would be the minimum. Sell 1 at the first target, hold 1 to keep to the second target. My market posture is still definitely more bullish than not. Market looks good. For whatever you hear everyone say, like, oh, it's this. Now all of a sudden you see people like, oh, well, it looks like the FANGs has some more to go. It looks like because the Fed, right? Remember the old saying, don't fight the Fed. So just a dovish Fed, and people are like, it doesn't really make sense. If they're forecasting GDP at 1.6, 1.9 and into the 2s, and we know that inflation is rising, why would they cut rates? Why would they say they're going to possibly cut 2 more times this year? That doesn't really, right? Cutting rates is more about preventing recession or preventing a deeper recession, not, it's an interesting one. So clearly, whatever they see in the labor market is enough that they're ramping up the dovishness to counteract it, because normally speaking, or maybe they're succumbing to the political pressure that's clearly coming their way. But, realistically and historically speaking, if you're in a situation where you're expecting growth over the next 2 years, and they are, you wouldn't really be cutting interest rates due to the potential for adverse impacts on inflationary data. So there you go. Okay, anyone now, just real quickly, those of you who are here, I'm making note. I've seen a few more of you arrive. Welcome. Welcome those of you who came right on time for you, but a little late for the start time. It's fine. I don't reference tardiness. I don't believe in tardiness. You're right on time for you. That's how it works for me too. We give each other grace in that regard. But if you're new to the meeting, any questions on the trade alert that came out? What was the contract I built? Out of the money. I went with the 155. And again, if you're relatively new to the group itself, you'll hear, especially with options, people will say things like, well, if you buy out of the money options, you'll eventually be out of the money. It's very clever. I get it. But the only way for that to happen is if you sit around in your trade until expiration day. I bought October's. I got 4 weeks plus for a move that I'm expecting to happen in 7 to 10 days maximum. The only way I would be in this trade beyond next Friday is if it crossed my first target and was working towards its second target but hadn't been there yet. Then I'd be like, yeah, let's give it a couple more days for sure. I don't sit and loiter in old trades that haven't done what they're supposed to do. I'll shut them down and move on. Missed the entry, not chasing. Honestly, here's what's interesting is I do believe that the core bounce entry was here. But I am looking at this one more as a valid continuation trade that's still producing a potential 3-to-1. So I get that, Craig. You know that I am not one who's prone to chase into entries or show up at parties late. Those are not my jam. But when I see this second Heiken Ashi candle, I think I don't need to put a stop down here, which is if I would have gotten in here, that's probably what I would have done. At this point, I'm thinking I'm putting my stop here under this candle, and then on Monday, I'll move it here, and on Monday, I'll expect something like this, and then I'll put it there, and then expect something like this, and then put it here, and hopefully this walks on up, and I'm just moving my stop, right? I'm going to take a little bit of profit at this first area. If I have 3 contracts, I'm selling 1, holding the other 2. And then when it gets to 166, boom, done. Dunzo, funzo. But I get that. I mean, your rule says I'm not chasing. Great. I love that you're sticking to your rule. Love it, love it. Anybody else who took it? Who didn't? Yeah, a lot of times on continuation trades, 2-to-1 is the best you get at the upper target. Maybe 2.5. But I looked at this and I thought, hey, I think I can get 3-to-1 on this thing. It's you can see back here, it moved from this candle, it moved an extra 16 points. I'm looking for actually 18 points, so a little bit more, but there you go. Jeans in. Love it. Okay. Well, let's go look at what's going on. I'm going to reload you. Fed makes a first rate cut of 25. Signals more to come. We have a potential government shutdown. I don't know. They tend to be dog and pony shows. Both sides are like, we're not going to give. We're going to fight for our constituents, blah, blah, blah. And then right at the end, they're like, oh, we kicked the can down the road 3 weeks. And you're like, okay. That's about what we would expect. 2 votes in rapid succession. The House GOP plan and a competing Democratic plan failed in the Senate. All right, Senate. All right. Nothing's passed yet. Where are we? Good day. Up 0.44 on the S&P, 0.39 on the Dow, 0.54 on the NASDAQ, but dropping 0.75 of a point on the Russell. So it feels in that regard a little bit like a buy the rumor, sell the news, that the small caps are kind of pulling back a little bit. We'll keep an eye on that. Trump to add $100,000 fee for HB1 visas, 1B visas. Is that like you just, or is that his? I thought it was $5 million for a immigration gold card. Are they cheaper now? I don't even know what that means. What else? XAI. Is that Elon Musk's? Yeah, XAI raised $10 billion. I've played with I don't know what the difference is between XAI and Gronk. Are they the same thing? I've played with it. It's not great. I think it's far behind ChatGPT and Claude. So these are the 2 that I tend to use. OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude. They're fantastic. I haven't seen anything else that does as well, and that includes Copilot and Gemini from Microsoft and Google. There you go. A little AI readout. You know I'm a fan of our future AI overlords. just planting good seeds for when they eventually take over, and they look to identify all the humans who were early supporters for leadership positions, of course. What else? Mirren doesn't see material inflation. I don't know what material inflation means. It's there. It's there, and we'll see more of it. Wanted bigger rate cut. Yeah, that's what happens when he puts his guy in. I'm not sure how much we can trust that. Anything else in the news? Let's go look at the economic calendar. You guys are quiet today. I forgot to tell you that when we have a light group, everybody's expected to carry the burden. Stephen D., I saw you snuck in late. I'm expecting some good interaction from you guys. Yes? Okay. Let's wrap up this week. So, jobless claims, we were a bit concerned at the 264 level. Then they said, well, we think it might drop to 240, and then we ended up getting 231. Okay. Remember that for us to really be bells and whistles going off, that 264 would need to be 264, 270, 272, 3 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. Oh my gosh. I didn't even see Renee. I am so sorry. I typically look to find new names so I can say hello. Now I'm embarrassed that I didn't do that. Welcome to the group. It's amazing to have you. Your willingness to just jump in is appreciated. Those of you who are old salty dogs in the group, learn the lesson from Renee. Look at her just jumping in, ready to go. Love it. Thank you. Welcome. Please ask questions. Oftentimes, the group actually, when they're not so quiet like today, they'll answer it before I even get to it when I see it in the chat. So it's amazing to have you. Okay, let's keep going. What else? What else is happening this week? We got some Fed speak. We had a Kashkari essay. We had Stephen Mirren's TV interview. Mary Daly gave a speech. Not much there, right? Not much there for us. We know what's going on, but I do want to keep an eye on this. So, what is the market looking for? And I'm skeptical, as is Stephen D. But there's already priced in 92%. I'm going to put some air quotes. If you could see me, I'm air quoting right now. Quote unquote probability. It's not a probability. It's what the market's pricing in as a probability. You'll hear talking heads misstate what that is. They're like, oh, there's a 90% probability. No, there's a 90% probability priced in, meaning oftentimes there's a good chunk of hope in that quote unquote probability. We've seen times where what it was forecasting based on probability, and we're like, there's just no way. And then over the next few weeks, what happens? It prices back out because people are like, oh yeah, that's a little irrationally exuberant, if you will. Since we're talking about the Fed, to pull out an old Fed speak from my guy Alan Greenspan, the OG thug of the Fed. That's who they should bring back. Bring back Greenspan to run the show for a minute. Yeah, he's a no-nonsense kind of guy. 90% priced in here. And then if we go to December, what do I expect to see? I expect to see probably 50 to 60% down to, this is at 375 by 400, down to 350 by 375. Let's see if I'm right. Ooh, even more. 80% probability, quote unquote, of two more cuts. 18% say, no, we're only going to get one more. And only 1% of people think that's it. The Fed's done for the year. I think that the data could reorient the way that we think about this. I don't know when we get the next data. Stephen D, I'm just giving you a hard time. Stephen's driving and listening. I don't want him to drive unsafely. That's for sure. Okay, what do we have coming out next week? It looks like a big week, right? Monday, just all feds. Anyone good? John Williams, St. Louis, I do like. And if you're wondering what I evaluate a good Fed on, it's the quality and uniqueness of their name. And that's it. I was very sad when Adriana Kugler left because I loved her name. Alberto Musalem. Good name, strong name. St. Louis Fed, he brings it. Who are we missing here? My guy, Austin Goolsby. The best. Goolsbyforfed.com. Love the man. Okay, what do we have? We got a bunch of speak about what's coming up next. Bowman, Bostic. This one could be important. Basically, Monday and Tuesday, these little flash services, flash manufacturing reports from S&P are really quite minor. Nobody's paying attention. We will pay attention to Jer Bear, though. When Jer Bear speaks, we listen. Wednesday, new home sales have been a bit lackluster, but market's not really concerned about real estate right now. And then look at that. It just kicks into gear on Thursday. What do we have? We have jobless claims expected to stay in the 230s. We like that. We have my guy, Chicago Fed, Austin Goolsby. That's important, of course. GDP estimate at 3.3. That's pretty solid. Again, though, it has us questioning the Fed. If we're sitting around 3% GDP and projections are 1.5 or higher going forward through 2028, then why are we cutting rates? So clearly, the Fed, in its two primary mandates, and that is to sustain the labor market and to control the inflationary environment as much as possible through monetary policy. Inflation is not under control, but it appears that their prioritization of mandates is shifting to sustain and support the labor market, because that's the only reason that would justify cutting rates at a time when inflation is on the rise. It's clearly on the rise. We've seen it. And as much as new Fed Stephen Mirren wants to say marginal, no, what was his verb? Marginal? He doesn't see material inflation. Come on, man. Of course there is. Of course there is. Let's see when we're going to get more data. Now, that's Thursday. We have a little bit of minor things. It looks like a lot, but nobody cares about like advanced retail inventories or wholesale. Durable goods, maybe. There's a little bit more Fed speak, a little bit more real estate data. But then it's Friday. Friday, we have spending and income. Income dropping, spending staying the same. It's hard for inflation to drop when spending stays the same, but okay. Then what? Then this is the big one. This is very, very important. I'm actually just realizing right now, I still don't think there's time. You'll notice on Friday, September 26th, we're getting August PCE data. PCE is the Fed's favored, more than CPI, more than PPI. PCE is what the Fed really orients to for data around inflation. What is the expectation? Going up a tick, not a lot, but up a tick on month to month, up a tick on year over year, down a tick on core PCE month to month, stable on core PCE year over year, but stable at 2.9. What's the target? Right? What is the target that the Fed has? The target is is 2%. PCE is personal consumption expenditures. Personal consumption expenditures. And this is, again, versus consumer price index and producer price index. So we have price index and then we have expenditures price index. So that is what CPE is. Let me even, I was just diving in. If you want to look a little bit into it, great question. Here is from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, a little bit about that. Our spending bill will probably not pass, and we shut down for a couple weeks. Be shocked if we have any more rate cuts. I expect jobs increase, but inflation increases too. I agree. I really still see stability. I mean, a little bit of regression in the jobs, but I don't see negativity yet. It would be nice to see the jobs tick back up. Yeah. But I definitely think that inflation increases are coming. As far as the government shutdown, I think it will be interesting. I mean, the market never likes when the government has a shutdown. So I definitely think that would be a bit of headwinds, so to speak, for market progress. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And as we get to Friday of next week, we'll have a lot more to discuss. Any negative surprises beyond this might still fit Stephen Mirren's definition of not material, meaning just a marginal amount. But, and in fact, Stephen, the mortgage rates went up a little bit. So it's like, let's get out. Anyways. Well, thank you, Melody. I appreciate that. I try to be objective about it and not, I mean, look, we all have our biases that I fight hard to not let my biases come in. I know I don't always do the best of jobs with it, but should be interesting. And this is the key. Now, what I was getting to is the next Fed meeting is October 29th. I didn't realize. I thought we would only get 1 month. We're going to get CPI and PPI in a week or two. But I think there may still be a couple of days where the October, the September PCE numbers that are going to be released late in October should actually come in advance of the late October meeting. So that'll be interesting, right? That'll be interesting. Okay, let's go to the market. We looked at the trade. That seems to be going well late in the session. Let's go look at the market itself. Okay, what have we got here? So interestingly enough, yesterday we had above average volume, but yesterday the market was only up 0.47. So if you look down here, I've already said this for me is a tie. I'm starting to lean toward Stephen's composite assessment. If I have 3-4 ties that are ties, but at the same time advancing, I'm starting to think maybe I do need to bundle these and give a buy day, because it certainly is moving higher during this, even though the volume is sort of expressing itself more in like equilibrium on the bigger days. Overall, we're definitely advancing. Not like, oh, look how fast. It's a nice steady clip. In fact, if you look at the short-term trend for me, same number. That's not going to change. Long-term trend, not going to change. Short-term trend, not going to change. Let's go see how close we are on the long-term. I've still got 15 points before I'm like, all right, let's give it. This red line where we've convincingly moved into, this is a 1.25 for me. So I'm going to leave that as is. Long-term stays the same. Short-term score likely going to stay the same. And my volume score. Now, here's what's interesting. Let's move this back to regular candles. Let's move this down to... And Renee, I hope you have the ability to join us Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time, when we go through and basically do our market analysis, prepare our watch list, kind of get ourselves oriented and ready for the week. If you can't make it live, definitely watch the recording, because we'll go through this scoring process to see, hey, how are we doing? And it's holding up. Right? We're holding up just fine at a strong score, 5.25. Very good score. So volume, it's 138. Average volume today is 70 million. Let me get my calculator. I think we're going to get an above average day today. Although here's what's interesting. We're at 0.48, 0.49. We're just wavering. Our threshold is 0.50. That's what makes it interesting. Yesterday, 0.47 was not quite 0.50. Today, it's 0.48, and it's not quite 0.50. But like Steven said, and I'm seeing the beauty of that logic, is if we've advanced on ties and we have enough of them, maybe we do. I'm open to that. However, all it would do is help me maintain, but not necessarily improve my posture. I don't think it's a 0.5, but it's definitely still at least a 0.25. But let's look at this and score it and see. So average right now is 70,548,381 times 1.05. I need 5% above average volume. Wait, what did I do? I did something wrong. 70,551,901 times. Okay, I see what I'm doing. I see it. I saw it that time, you guys. 604 times 1.05 equals 74 million and change, basically. Are we likely to get 4 million shares as a minimum in the last 20 minutes of the market? Well, let's go take a quick peek. Yesterday, I don't want to draw a line. Yesterday we got 4.8 million in the last 5 minutes. If you look at the last 10 minutes, we were at 7 million, 8 million, 9 million. Yesterday, we had 9 million shares in the last 20 minutes. Do I think we're going to get 4 today? I do. But let's go back one more day and look and see. This was not nearly as big of a day, but even still, 3.6 million, 1.7, you're already at 5.3, 5.7. Yeah. I think we're likely to get at least 7 million shares, which means it will qualify for an above average volume day. It will qualify for an above average volume day. However, what we're seeing is a bit of a sell-off here in the last little bit. So it depends. Do we end up at 0.5 and get the automatic, or do we have to duct tape 3 of these ties together and give ourselves an extra point? What do you think about my assessment, Stephen? On point? Let me know your thoughts. Okay. Major market analysis, I think, is going to stay the same. It's strong already. We're at a 0.75, and if anything is leaning towards being upgraded to a 1. Full score. I mean, if we have the NASDAQ and small caps leading, that's as good as it gets. The appetite for risk is hunger for risk, hunger for growth. Beautiful. Sector rotation. I think sector rotation is probably going to stay the same. We've got three solid leading groups: technology, communication services, financials. We would love to see one more join, whether that's industrials or financials. No, consumer discretionary is leading, not financials. Whether that's industrials or financials that tries to move into a leading position, I'd love to see sector rotation add another quarter of a point. We could be there, right? Like we could easily get a quarter point here, quarter point here, quarter point here, and that would take us back to a 6. We just, we're not going to anticipate it. We're going to wait until we see it. Let's go look at the VIX, and then I'll get to the watch list. Okay, now, like I said, if today would have been this one's actually going to drop. So what do I have here? We had this low from back here, and then we came down to this low. Not by much, but this was a higher low. And that comes after we already had a higher high. So the higher high took us from a 1.5 down to a 1.25. This higher low is going to take us to a 1. If anything, good to see you, Stephen. Drive safe. Talk to you on Sunday. I was thinking if we closed below this point here, on a downward, I would have actually nullified and said this is up a quarter, this is down a quarter. This is still set up. So from right here, if on Monday it gives us, imagine this is red and colored in. If we take out this low here, I'm going to then say that's a lower high. That'll give me the quarter point back. But as of right now, I do think it's going to drop. So what is my projection for this? I think we could be anywhere between a 5 and a 5.25. That's what I think. I think we could drop a quarter or we could stay the same, meaning we may see enough to offset, but that's great. Still bullish. So am I willing to carry some bullish trades? Absolutely, especially if I just put a new one on, right? Let's get to the watch list. Apple did its thing, man. I'll tell you what. It did its job. Look at it getting up there. It's not all the way to like where it could get, but it's got plenty of momentum. That's one I would carry through the weekend. ADM. Yeah, ADM. This one is it's turned sideways. I think there's enough here to be like, hey, that candle is giving me a little bit to stay through. But full disclosure, I'm out. I took some here and then I held, and then when it did this, I'm like, I can't keep waiting. I'm running out of time. So a small loss, but a little loss. Let me see. ADM. What did I end up with there? Sorry, let me yeah, it was a loss. It wasn't as bad as like LVS for me, but it was a loss. Took it, ate it, didn't enjoy it. Now out. In fact, if you're still in it, you'd be getting out at a better point than I got out at. So there you go. Okay. Well, let's keep going here. Amazon is in a hiccup. I would actually trade out of the hiccup. This is on my early list for next week. APH. I said this could be a flag in a stiff wind. Kind of a long one, but then it popped, and here it goes. I did not take that. I wanted a little more of a downward pullback, and I did not get it. Anybody pull the trigger on that? Well done. Well done. I commend you. AVGO, beautiful. Oh, look at that hammer set up, ready for next week. I think we have a great trade lined up for next week on this one. I'm looking forward to that. AXP. This is where I think that financials maybe could show up for us. Maybe financials could show up and give us something, right? Who knows? Who knows? BAC. Financials continuing up there. BTI, no. Citigroup, it finally made it to our first target. I'm not sure it's going to get to the second target, but I'm actually going to carry a little bit more of that. It's still going. So, okay. Let's see what we can get. Let's see if we can get 2 more days out of it, right? Anybody else still have a piece of that from the previous alert? Let me know. Caterpillar staving off a little bit here, but what a move. What a strong move. We'd love to see industrials come back into the mix of our growth-oriented sectors. Yes? CCJ is a little volatile for me, especially coming out of this big sideways move, so I'm a nothing there. CELH, I was wondering if it was going to hiccup. It's still holding the 50. Still worth looking at, but not until next week. CLS, overextended, needs a pullback. Capital One, not quite as strong as other financials that we've seen. Coinbase, same thing. Cisco, come on, Cisco. Come on. I don't love this, but it's gotten enough of it back. Stochastic still pointing higher. I'm going through the weekend, you guys. I still think this has a good chance in the tech space right now. If it had finished down here and engulfed, I probably would have been like, we're done here. But I'm gonna give it a little bit of grace. You guys know that at a 5 1/4, I'm reluctant to take losses. Delta's got a possibility of a bounce. I mean, it's got some weak candles, but it's definitely starting to move off of that 50. So there you go. Dash, a little overextended. Diamonds just kind of chugging along. EA, kind of hitting some resistance. EXPE. Put it on the list for next week. What do I have? A nice flag pattern. Beautiful trend. Beautiful trend. And then this. That flag is definitely ripe. Definitely ripe for a potential signal coming out of it. So there you go. Okay. Whoops. Okay, let's see. Futu. If you pulled the trigger on this, I'd be like, yeah. If you wanted to wait until it surpassed the high of this day, which is often sometimes what I'm looking for to, you can see the stochastics did turn. Candle was close. That's setting up nicely, and that's when I could see even being a trade on Monday. Fiber setting up, beautiful, right? This is definitely one on next week's list. This is out of Communication Services. This is pretty new to the watch list, but looking pretty strong there. Although, as I look at this right now, I'm looking at this volatility and I'm wondering what's going on in here. It may not have great options. I should probably stop and take a look at that. Come on, give me open. Oh, yeah, it's kind of trash. It's kind of trash. That's a stock trade, if anything, but it is a $37 stock. So it's not expensive, and I haven't done a stock trade alert for a while. I'm still thinking I'm going to do that as a stock alert, not options though. They have options, but they're garbage options. What do I mean by that? I mean that if you bought the $35 call without realizing it, you'd pay $470 and it would immediately be down 90%. 90%. You'd be like, oh, what? What just happened? You bought it, it's down 90. Even here at the 37.50, you buy it at 70, you're down 35, you're down 50% on opening the trade. Can't do it. We cannot do it. Okay. But it's a beautiful looking trend. I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think we may have a stock alert on our hands. Look at Vladimir bringing up perfectly in alphabetical order. Well done, sir. Well done. Gold. Gosh, look at it bounce. You guys know I'm not much of a gold trader. The only alerts we've had for gold have come from Glenn. I take them when they come. That was definitely a nice looking flag setup. You really would have had to have been ready for it. Meaning what? Meaning you're putting a trigger in that says if it gets past this, I'm in, and now you would be up. Like you're getting in after the first 1%, so now you're up 3 or 4. I can't trade this high, right? Like it's so far from where I want to get in as it turns. Bam, right in here. I can't wait and have it up in here. I agree. That looks nice. If you're in it, it looks fantastic. GE looks bullish. That's helpful for the industrials. Gold, maybe a little turn there. Google overextended, just wanting it to pull back if it would. Same with Goldman Sachs. Hood gave a turn. If anybody pulled this, we were looking at this. It didn't turn into an alert, but that's one that I took. I'm wondering if anybody else did. Let me know. Howmet overextended. IBM. That's another one that we didn't end up putting the alert out, but we talked about viability right through here. Let me know if you're in that one. It's moving well. I would expect the way we're trying to do our opening bells, we're trying to really have more discussions about trades. There's going to be a lot more of trades like this where there's not an alert, but there's a good chance I and others are in that trade because we talked about it. We just didn't put a formal alert out. There will be 2 to 3 alerts that come out, but we'll discuss 5, 6, 7 trades a week. Just keep that in mind. Incentive for coming live to the sessions. Intel kind of pulling back after the news. IWM a little pullback. Levi, yeah. If you're still in Levi, it's I could see taking off half and holding some. There's profit there that you may not want to put at risk through the weekend, but it does look like it still could have some move left in it. That's a tough one. If you exited the whole thing, it definitely is showing a momentum cross. Look like it's hitting some resistance, but I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to hold half, take half, keep half, kind of a deal. Lumentum. Overextended, needs a pullback. LVS, I shut mine down back in here. If you held yours, great. It's making a comeback. Duplicate this line, move it down, give yourself a new set of objectives, but this is it. If it doesn't move straight up this thing, you're done. You can't just keep waiting for it to move. That's just not how we trade. LYV, Live Nation. Yes. Beautiful new communication services setup. I like it. Definitely looking strong for a setup into next week. Absolutely. Meta, a little overextended. Morgan Stanley, overextended. Microsoft. Anybody? I said that might be a little sneaky reversal. It's trying. That's valid if you took it. Micron pulling back. Netflix somewhere in the middle. Northrop Grumman maybe looking to find a bounce off the 50. Nvidia a little bit choppy. Good to see you, Melody. See you Sunday. PGY overextended. PLTR. Come on. Didn't really give us a chance. I'm not in that one. I would like to be. I love to trade PLTR. I did not take that one. I know a couple people did, so well done if you did. Hopefully you're still in it. QQQ looking strong. Roblox a little bit in a consolidation. Reddit. Yes, Reddit. Come back to me. I'd like to see you here at 250. I'll meet you there, and then we'll put another trade on together. RF. Not seeing a lot of follow through there. Rocket Lab setting up with some chop. There was some chop, but I think that a new trade is setting up. Silver popping again. SoFi. I from what I'm seeing on our financial stocks, there's a very good chance. A very good chance that shows up in our sector rotation. Yeah, PJ, if you're still in LVS, I would stay in it. If you look at what I said on that one, I said, look, if you held, I'm not in, but if you held, this looks valid to see if it can make this move. It would happen next week. That's the last chance you can possibly give it, in my opinion. Where was I? SPY. SPY is up 0.56%. And has above average volume. So this is going to be a buy day, it looks like, based on the way this is going to close. So maybe I won't need to, but I don't know. Maybe I will give it a half a point. It's got a good slope of hope, right? TME sideways, but maybe setting up. Tesla overextended. TSM overextended. Uber. Ooh, I thought Uber was going to give you a chance to roll. Oh, Melody left, I think. Upwork overextended. We need a pullback. Visa. Nothing really there for me, but I'll keep watching it. Walmart pulling back, setting up a trade. I'm looking for a trade. Cup and handle. Boom, boom, boom. Give me the handle anywhere through here. I would trade this for sure. I think it's got some nice potential in front of it. Overall, looking for our posture to stay bullish. Got some nice trades that we're in. Trades that are looking to set up. Yeah, let's look for more bullishness going into next week. We'll reassess. We'll go through the watch list in detail, create a nice short list for next week. I think there's some really nice looking opportunities setting up. Looking for some trades next week, especially in communication services. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Any questions? Any comments? Any concerns? Let me know. Otherwise, that's going to wrap it up for the week. I will see everybody. Don't forget to finish up some work in your trading plan on Section 3, trading rules, trading systems. Next week, we'll shift into Section 4, which is risk management, clearly an important one. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. I'll see you Sunday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. if you're mountain time like me. As always, happy trading.